All right, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shea. We've got some action in the tropics. We may only have 3 weeks left in our hurricane season, but we have a system out there that is on the verge of becoming a hurricane in the last couple of weeks, and it will likely make landfall in parts of the U.S. So that is pretty rare for mid to late November. So let's talk about it. This is your YouTube tropical update for today. Of course, you can find these updates daily through the remainder of our hurricane season, which is only about 3 weeks out for the end of our hurricane season. But before we get there, we've still got some action out there. I want to show you what's going on. Here's a live look at Jacksonville Beach in Florida, where we currently have wind gusting to around 40 miles per hour, and we do have a tropical storm warning in place here. You can kind of see someone out there taking a stroll out along the beach, but hopefully they are not getting in the water because it is super choppy out there. We've got the gusts near 40 miles per hour, which is right around tropical storm force wind, and we've also got those waves increasing, so some angry water out there as Nicole gets closer. Nicole is currently a very strong tropical storm. It's almost a hurricane, not quite. Maximum sustained winds around 70 miles per hour right now, but it is getting better organized, and you can almost start to see kind of an eye feature developing here in the center of that circulation. So it is pushing over the northwestern Bahamas right now, where hurricane warnings are in place, and it is getting close to the east coast of Florida. We are expecting a landfall likely around midnight, overnight into early Thursday. It is going to be some pretty rough weather going on across portions of the Florida East Coast. Here's something else I wanted to point out. Stop what you're doing and look at this. Wow, this system is huge. Tropical storm force winds extend nearly 500 miles from the north of that center. So that is a lot of tropical storm force wind. And that means that as this pushes into Florida, impacts will be widespread from this system. So let's talk about some of the main impacts from Nicole, which is currently a tropical storm, but it is expected to increase to a hurricane over the next few hours. So Nicole should reach the east coast of Florida around midnight as a Category 1 hurricane. So it's not going to blow up and become a major hurricane, but even as a Category 1, it is still expected to do some damage. It could bring up to 8 inches of rain for parts of Florida, along with that storm surge threat and the threat for some strong, potentially damaging wind. I can't even rule out a few tornadoes. You have that large scale circulation, and as it makes landfall and starts to break down, that's when that tornado threat will start to increase. Also, for today, this afternoon, a 54 mile per hour wind gust was reported in Grand Bahama Island as it pushed over that area. So it will continue to head closer to Florida and likely making landfall late tonight. Here's the official track current coordinates. Maximum sustained winds with Nicole currently at 70 miles per hour, movement to the west at 13 miles per hour, and that pressure has been falling throughout the day down to 985 millibars. Location 26.5 degrees north, 77.9 degrees west. This is as of the latest 3 p.m. advisory. So here's Nicole. Here's the northwestern Bahamas, currently right over the Bahamas right now, bringing a lot of heavy rain, bringing that threat for a few severe storms, maybe some damaging wind gusts, some higher waves out there, higher rip current risk. All of that shifts to the east coast of Florida for tonight. In fact, the current track from the National Hurricane Center has Nicole strengthening to a Category 1 hurricane by midnight and likely making landfall right around midnight with 75 mile per hour winds just north of West Palm Beach, right around the Fort Pierce, Florida area. So it will likely make landfall in between West Palm Beach and Melbourne, Florida. So this is what we're expecting. You can see this area in red outlined along the east coast of Florida. That's a hurricane warning, and the area outlined in blue up around Jacksonville, Florida, that is a tropical storm warning. Of course, we saw the live pics of Jacksonville Beach earlier. 40 mile per hour gusts there, but those gusts will be increasing for the entire east coast of Florida as we go through the evening and tonight. As we go into Thursday, right around noon, likely weakening to a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm, and it will likely be right along the west coast of Florida. So for that reason, we've got tropical storm warnings for a big chunk of the central portion of the west coast of Florida. Then it's going to weaken a little bit more, 40 miles per hour by midnight on Friday, and start to roll up into Georgia. It's going to push pretty close to the Atlanta area throughout the day on Friday, but by then it will be much weaker, likely around a tropical depression, and we'll have that basically dissipating as we go into this weekend. So yesterday it looked like it may survive and make it all the way up to New York City, but today it looks like it will kind of fall apart before it gets that far to the north and east. So we are closely tracking Nicole. No impacts from Nicole expected here. All of that heavy rain, the flood threat, the coastal flooding, the threat for the tornadoes, the storm surge, and all of that will stay off towards the east coast. Other than Nicole, not really tracking any other major systems. Right now, it's pretty quiet elsewhere in the Atlantic, not expecting any tropical cyclone development over the next couple of days. And in the eastern Pacific, it's the same story. Good news, no active tropical systems, and we are not expecting any tropical systems, at least over the next couple of days, to develop. But if we were to get something a little down the road, check out the sea surface temps across the Gulf of Mexico, across the Caribbean, still in the upper 70s to low 80s for much of the Gulf of Mexico, much of the Caribbean. So it's getting a little bit cooler out there as far as the water is concerned, but it is still warm enough to where if we did get any more tropical disturbances to develop, there's still a potential they could strengthen into a tropical depression or maybe even a named storm. Of course, we are on Nicole, which is expected to become a hurricane by this evening and tonight. But after that, if we get a few more named systems, we've got Owen, Paula, Richard, Sherry, and Tobias, and a couple more after that. But we've only got about 3 more weeks to go in our hurricane season, so hopefully we won't make it that far down the list. But it is pretty rare to have a hurricane making landfall in the U.S. and in Florida in November. In fact, the last time we had a hurricane make landfall in Florida on the East Coast was, I believe, 1985, and that was Kate. So it's been quite a while, close to 37 years. So this is a pretty rare event, and historically, we just don't have that many tropical systems during the last part of hurricane season. Of course, we are now into the second week in November, and we've only got a few more weeks to go, but of course, the chance is low, but it's not zero. So we will keep watching it for you and tracking it. Right now, Nicole is our only concern, but it's a pretty big concern for the state of Florida and also up towards Georgia and maybe portions of the Carolinas as it weakens into a depression by Friday. But for us, no impacts expected from Nicole, but of course we do have our own weather changes to worry about. So for that reason, make sure you have the Fox 26 weather app downloaded on your phone, your tablet. If you have an iPhone, if you have an Android phone, it doesn't matter because the Fox 26 app is versatile. You can download it on either device. Just make sure you head to the App Store, search for Fox 26 there, and you'll have a lot of weather info, weather tools anywhere you are when you are out there on the go. Also, don't forget to come by my social media pages. Maybe say hi, leave a message, leave a comment at Ramisha Shade TV for Twitter, Facebook at Ramisha Shade Weather, and Instagram at Ramisha Shade. Have a great evening. Stay safe out there and make it a good night.